All right, good afternoon. I can tell you I am so excited to have the opportunity to come up and talk to you a little bit about how Amazon has been revolutionizing e-commerce and through seamless delivery. I want to start quickly with a little bit about my background. I've spent a good deal of time in operations. My primary teams are in charge of a couple different facets of the organization. Number one is we move all the inventory from manufacturers, whether it's in Southeast Asia or domestically. We move it into the inventory networks at both the EU and North America. I have a second team that focuses on moving that inventory in a completed package to your customer porches. It's an amazing opportunity to have watched this organization. I've been there over 20 years. I actually started as an intern, and I've spent almost all of my time in operations. Now, let me take you back just a little bit. When I joined, this company had 5 fulfillment locations in the United States. We did all of our picking through paper P-slips. So you can imagine handing a bunch of pickers in a 1 million square foot facility a giant stack of inch of P-slips to go around and pull items off shelves and then bring it down to the sortation area. We had a very primitive tilt tray sortation operation that then put them all into a box, and then we put them onto a truck with only third-party carriers. We've come a long way since then. It's been amazing watching this journey from the operations component. So there's been many things that have evolved over the time. Some of them are outbound regionalization that you might have heard about a little bit. There's other things that we have done throughout the years that have made our fulfillment operations significantly better. One of those is replacing paper picking with our hundreds of AR robots that go and actually move the inventory to the actual pickers and stowers so they don't have to walk 10 miles a day in those facilities pulling those products. Other things we have done is had to innovate on behalf of our customer in our supply chain and transportation networks. We quickly realized in the early 2010s that we were going to have a challenge there. So my background actually started here in Dallas full-time in Grapevine. I launched a building called DFW1, whose sole purpose was trying to figure out how to ship couches, refrigerators, riding lawnmowers, you name it. Very hard deliveries, very different than delivering a small parcel to a customer porch. So that's when I first got my taste into the delivery experience world and how very different it can be for all the different types of customers that are out there. So after doing that for a little bit of time, I went on to start transportation in 2010. There were 5 people managing $3 billion in spend. So you can imagine we needed to do some revolutionizing there. And what we did is we split into normal functional areas, and then we did a long-term plan where we realized that the amount of capacity that we were going to need from the industry exceeded over 50% of what the industry was able to provide. What that meant is no third-party carrier would let us be that significant portion of their business, and we began to build out the transportation network. Again, working back from our customers, we know that the customers always want more selection, faster deliveries, and cheaper products. And so we knew that we were going to have to build that internally. We started with Sort Center Network, and in 2014, I had the privilege of launching 16 in 9 months. It was quite an endeavor to go across the entire United States deploying this. We then also realized we have an air capacity problem, and so I assume most of you have seen our Amazon airplanes out there. That actually started with a 6-month trial. We realized we had a shortage, and we had 5 767s operating in 6 months. That's the type of innovation that we do on behalf of our customers to be able to deliver at the speed that they're looking for. We continued to build out those transportation services into the final mile area, as well as line haul with the creation of the Tom team and our Relay and Amazon Freight components. Now, coming forward to last year. Many of you might have heard we went through a fairly large transformation where we regionalized our outbound transportation network. This seems like a very simple concept, right? You have the entire United States, 3,200 miles in some locations between 2 cities, and we treated it all as one location. And we would basically place inventory nationally with a preference on a regional standpoint, but our goal was to be able to connect every point to service our customer. We have over 300 million SKUs, so we need to have the ability to store those, and you can't put 300 in one building. So we have been operating a national network. One of the challenges that we ran into with that national network occurred in 2020. Y'all can imagine what that is. That was COVID. COVID created a massive problem for our transportation and supply chain, as with everybody else that was out there. We had to learn how to run our 2022 volume on a network built for 2020 volume. That meant we were almost taking double the demand than the capacity that we actually had. And so what we resorted to was a quote that we had, which was, okay, we've got to figure out how to maximize the throughput of this network as opposed to trying to optimize for speed and delivery. And our customers saw that. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. There's other aspects of our operations where we focus on performance improvements, and then how are we optimizing this consumer network for Amazon Business? It's two different types of customers, two different types of expectations that these customers have, and we have to change the way our network is operated in some ways to do it, and one of those things is on consolidation strategies. So here's the very simplistic change. Just go into your network, 300 buildings, origin points, 100 sortation centers, 300 plus delivery stations spread all across the United States. Just take them out, carve them up, and split them into regions. So you can imagine we spent a lot of time in the OR world. We did modeling of the last 18 months of volume, the projected volume for the next 24 months, and we went through and tried to figure out how to divide the country into an optimal set of regions that would achieve one-day delivery at approximately 40 to 50%, and then two-day delivery at over 80%. And from there, we were able to figure out, based on population density and a variety of other things, what type of regions we should set up. We spent a lot of time debating the models. There was a lot of fear going on. We have never completed open heart surgery on a network that was shipping hundreds of millions of units a week. So this was a big bet from the transportation group. We did it. We rolled out the first region. The team liked the results. We ended up completing the regionalization actually 2 months early. And the challenge we ran with this is we basically opened up over 20,000 individual trucking lanes in the course of a very short time period and regionalized. Now, back to the quote as to why we had to do it. We were switching from being a throughput maximization in 2022 to our customer experience. We got back to our roots. Our customers were not happy with the speeds that we were given. Many of you probably remember getting longer promises during COVID and even post-COVID, and that's what prompted us to go through and make this change. So how does this outbound regionalization impact Amazon Business? There's been a lot of great wins from this. So first, we were able to achieve something that most professors tell you can't. You usually have to choose two between speed, quality, and cost. In this endeavor, we actually got all three. That's very abnormal for many supply chain and logistics group. By moving the inventory closer, we had less distance to ship to the customer, which meant we could fulfill faster. We also had less touches. We didn't have to go through as many sort centers to get to the customer. So that meant less chance for us to introduce an error on our on-time performance. And then we also were able to do it at a lower cost, because overall, our packages and inventory traveled significantly less distance. So this streamlined our network connections. We then forced optimization of our inventory for local in-stock. We actually are looking at specific cities and how much of the ASIN selection is available in that city within a one-day promise, and eventually we'll talk about in same-day promises. So from an Amazon Business standpoint, there's a lot of wins here. If we normally had stocked 100 units across at the national level, we had to increase a little bit on the regional level in order to have the placement. So you might have 100 units that were stored in Chicago that served the entire country. Now we have 11 units in each of the regions, more or less. We adjust based on the population, but 11 units in the region, which means we have a higher chance and a higher probability of actually having your full order available within the region, so that we can consolidate and deliver it quicker. We also exposed a series of deep metrics that enabled us to drill down and change the placement logic that we're using in our supply chain organization. Now, why is our business unique why are the purchases with Amazon Business unique? There's several things. One, you need a more simple interface for all the customers that you have. We have to decide how to balance the speed that you want. Do you want it in 1 day because it's an urgent order, or do you want it in 2 days in a pallet delivery? And then we also have to understand and ingest the different address intelligent information that's presented. And finally, you have something that should be a wonderful thing for us to do in supply chain world, which is you tell us a month from now you want 1,000 units delivered. For us, that was very difficult for us to figure out. Everything that we had built was designed to ship as quick as humanly possible. So, what are we doing in this area? Well, we are focused on simplifying checkout. We have spent some time optimizing the delivery experience with different pallet delivery programs, and then we've developed also a series of consolidation program. There is a big difference between when you order 1 unit, 4 units, or 400. And we're working through our systems and working through our displays to be able to show you what are the different options that we can have. There's other components that we also have to collect. When are you open? That's one of the biggest things that we really need to know to make everything work. We call that business hours compliance. So let's spend some time talking about simplifying checkout. So I've been on the site, I go through checkout, and there are so many options on the Amazon Business site. There's what we call cognitive overload going on, and it makes it really difficult to select what you want. What we're trying to build towards and what we believe that we're going to achieve in a short time period is the ability to actually display you 2 different options. One is, I need it now. And that's the orders that you've run out of pens, you've run out of the paper that you need to do for your production run that night or something of that nature. And then there's the stuff that is your regular buys that you need consolidated, preferably on a pallet. That's the things that we're looking to go through and simplify for you. As part of that, we're also going to showcase the benefits of sustainability in these different options to show you how one delivery might require a certain footprint and another delivery might be significantly better. Now, along with simplifying the experience, we have to get better about delivering to you on time. So many people want to try to get to 99%, which is a great target. And I would love to be at 99%. We are not. But I want to put that in perspective. We're going to deliver 1.2 billion units this year for all of the customers in this room. That means we are going to fail at 99%. We're going to fail on you 12 million units and at least 4 million customers impacted. At 93% on time, the number is staggering. We're going to be at 84 million units failed in that year and 27.8 million customers impacted. To put in perspective, I remember the days that we would ship 84 million units out of a handful of, that's the equivalent of basically 11 buildings shipping. That's a lot of failures. So, now, how do we get to 99%? I need the help of the people in this room. Our biggest challenge when we deep dive our on-time performance metrics is we're attempting to make a delivery and we find out you're not open. And that is the root of how we actually do all of our scheduling. We have to know when you're open in order to put it on the right delivery van to get to you. Right now, 85% of the locations of our customers in Amazon Business have a populated business hours, and 15 do not have anything other than the default hours because that's what pre-populates. This is so important because we actually run 2 different cycles inside of our logistics organization. We have one cycle that delivers relatively early in the morning and closes by 3. And we have another cycle that's more geared to consumers that are fine with deliveries up to 10 or maybe even 11 o'clock at night. If we get you in the wrong loop, you're going to end up getting a missed package. And that's why we're working so hard in our planning and execution systems to gear the information that you provide to us in order to make a successful delivery. Now, let's talk about different types of deliveries. There are Parcel that everybody's very familiar with, but we have a program that we're very proud of, which is static delivery, and a new program that we're rolling out called dynamic pallet delivery. Static delivery is basically the concierge service of Amazon Business Deliveries. If you're servicing about 25 packages a day or roughly 125 packages a week through our network, you'll have a dedicated driver on a dedicated route. You'll see the same person each day. They'll know all the ins and outs of how to get into your facilities, your loading docks, all the requirements that you need. And this program has the highest on-time performance of any of our programs. Now, we also have seen that people that have graduated into this program, you're receiving 110% more unit volume growth through us. Now, we also have a new program that we're launching, which is free pallet delivery, which is done on a dynamic basis. So you remember that sort center back in the beginning where we have all the pallet positions. What we do here is each day we assign a new position to each of the customers, and we're able to consolidate all the orders from multiple fulfillment centers into one position. With this service, we're able to give you a pallet delivery in a very clean and orderly fashion compared to a handful of parcels coming in directly from our fulfillment network. We have one limitation, which is really bad right now, which is we can only put one type of ASIN per pallet. So that means if you order red pen and paper, we can't combine them right now. In 25, we'll be able to do that, and that's going to unlock 90% of the pallet attainment opportunity for all the customers in this room. So you've heard me talk enough about it. I believe a video will help us show it much better.
Customers with high volume procurement needs rely on Amazon Business to deliver in more ways than one, which is why we developed the Direct Delivery program. Direct Delivery consolidates packages heading to a customer onto a single truck for delivery at the same time every day. We've especially found success in this program with universities, whose top priorities include campus safety, consolidation, and sustainability.
We were one of the early adopters of direct delivery with Amazon Business and have seen its evolution since the beginning. They've been a partner who listens to our needs and is willing to take our feedback into consideration for their vision.
Our staff used to receive hundreds of separate packages from numerous delivery drivers per day. It was a headache for tracking and campus congestion. Now, we're able to streamline those shipments with pallets and build a relationship with our driver.
Direct Delivery allows us to build trust with our customers, thanks to its predictable delivery windows within your business hours and the ability for the on-campus staff to form a relationship with their driver.
The same driver makes the delivery, so they're familiar with our facility. They know where to go, our staff gets to know them, and they get to know our staff.
As a university, we have high safety standards, so knowing who is on our campus on a regular basis is huge for our students and our staff.
As our sustainability goals have evolved, direct delivery has evolved with them.
Amazon Business is supporting Amazon's wider efforts to decarbonize transportation. In 2024, we're using more alternative fuel vehicles to deliver for our business customers. This means these deliveries will be made with fewer carbon emissions. Amazon Business adapts to a continuously changing world. Our goal is simple: make delivery so easy that you can focus on building your business.
Okay, I have to say that animated operations director happens to work for me and is phenomenal, but believes he could be a movie star now. So, since I know he's also an Eagles fan, I was hoping maybe Emmitt Smith would walk him through the Cowboys trophy room to help humble him a little bit. So, back to Amazon Pallet Delivery Program. What a difference between these two slides. You can have a delivery of a lot of loose parcels, or you can have nice, clean, wrapped parcels delivered to you in an alternative fuel vehicle with reusable pallet wrapping. It's a transformative change for Amazon Business. This is something that I think our customers are really going to love, especially when we're capable of doing the multi-ASIN consolidation. Okay, there are many other things that our business customers want things differentiated on. All the customers have different types of preferences. We talked briefly about consolidation versus speed, but there's also things like order types and order address type, which is residential versus commercial, your order size, 1 unit, 4 unit, 1,000, and then your address complexity. And address complexity is one of the hardest things that we have to deal with. An address type of residential is relatively normal for us to do. That's something we learned how to do in the consumer business side. On a commercial address, it's a little bit different. We might have a gate that we need to get through. We might have an address with suites or other different nomenclature that's harder for us. Now, at Amazon, from the consumer side, ordering large quantities is not very normal. Anything over about 10 is considered a high quantity order. And here, we can get orders of upwards of 400. And then address complexity. We had to address this in multiple ways, and we applied technology to be able to solve this problem for us by dividing into low, medium, and high complexity solutions. So let's talk a little bit about low complexity address deliveries. These are ones that mimic somewhat the customer consumer side that we deliver to on a regular basis. They're going to be residential buildings. Maybe there'll be an office complex. Maybe it's a small mailroom in a smaller building. You might require PPE. So there might be the need for the driver to have a mask, in which case, generally, the address will provide that. It also might be a location that has a manufacturing facility with a loading dock. And so those are all things that are very easy to be able to do within our Amazon Logistics delivery network. We actually, from a performance management standpoint, apply relatively the same suite of success metrics against that, with also some additional ones like first-time success on attempted delivery. Now, here, the thing that makes this an Amazon business versus a consumer delivery is we need to know when you're open. And we talked about that for a little bit. And so these low complexity deliveries, we know when you're open, you've provided the information, or we have a reasonable guess. Things that we're doing to improve this space, we're getting better on our geo tracking. It used to be a circle that kind of encompassed your building and some of the surrounding neighborhood, but now we're getting down into a couple feet. And so we can actually see the difference of, was it left on the front door? Was it left inside the lobby? Was it left inside the mailroom? And that makes a significant difference on the experience that you're seeing and the ability for us to figure out and how to coach the drivers on the correct location where to put it. We can also provide guidance to them on how to do that through our geo services. Now, with these, as we talked about a little bit earlier, we would encourage and hope to onboard as many people in the direct delivery program if it's applicable to their situation. Now, as we move on to medium complexity, think about a manufacturing facility with a gated entrance, maybe multiple entrances. You're going to require us to do PPE. And in this case, it might be something as simple as steel-toe shoes. You might also require a certain type of protective equipment for gloves. There might be a variety of other different things that you're looking for us to do. These type of facilities are going to require a different type of driver to make the delivery in order to accomplish the experience that you're looking for. In addition, if we know the address is a 3 p.m. or earlier closure, we also will flag it. And what I mean by flag is inside every single address, millions and millions of addresses that are out there, we will tag it as medium or high or low, depending on the classification. When you're tagged as medium, we change things. So the first thing is we ensure that our routing systems in Amazon Logistics is putting you on that first cycle. That means that you're going to get your delivery before the 3 p.m. cutoff when your facility closes. It also will provide some information that to the driver of where your actual location preference is for the delivery. Is it the mailroom, or is it actual individual offices, or is it an individual lab that you're trying to place the product in? And it also provides information like, do we need a lift gate? And in that case, we can send out a truck that's lift gate capable versus a truck that is parcel capable. Now, along with these, we would like to onboard as many into our palletized direct delivery program, focusing on building level consolidation. So there's many people that are within your facilities that are ordering products that we have the capability to do it all in one delivery. And that's what we're aspiring to be able to do in these medium complexity. Now, let's talk about high complexity. These are the ones that really test us, both from a delivery standpoint, a technology standpoint, and a data standpoint. So envision facilities that have multiple gated entrances. They have many buildings spread throughout the campus. It could be a college campus, or it could be an industrial or manufacturing campus. There's many different directions on how to actually get to the building you need to get to. And then even within the building, you might have multiple mail rooms that we're trying to deliver to, or multiple labs that we're trying to deliver to. These facilities may also require an annual license in order to get into their facility. So for these programs, we have to flag them similar to what we do on the medium complexity. We have to flag them. We have to have dedicated drivers. But we have to have a different set of compliance here to ensure that they have the appropriate badging in order to get into the facility. And this flag that we set in the high complexity allows us to be able to do that. Now, what we're doing is we're actually getting even smarter about this. We're able to, instead of looking at a particular zip code and at the size that it is, we can actually draw polygons. Well, a computer draws the polygons for us, highlighting your campus, and it actually exclusively sets certain drivers for those campuses. And that makes all the difference in trying to successfully achieve a high complexity delivery for us. Now, this is a lot of things that are going on in this space, but one customer could actually have all three types of delivery. And here's an example of one. They have 3 high complexity deliveries, 97 medium, and 2,262 low complexity deliveries. So this customer has a lot of different ways that we have to service it, and our systems have to be tracking which ID is which ones are going for which level of consolidation, which ones are going to be requiring badging, and such. And so, how are we doing here? Right now, we're running at about 98% first-time success and 95% on our promise accuracy for the day of delivery. That's pretty good. But when we look at business hour compliance broken down by those location types, we have over 96% is high. So that means of the high locations, we have compliance 96% of the time. But when you look at the low complexity IDs, we're only at 84, which means it's very close to back where we were with the residential deliveries and the 85% that we have populated. So we need some help here. And what this means is we have to take those low complexity addresses and then we have to feed them into our residential delivery program to try to aggregate and deliver those packages effectively for our customers. So, as you can see, we have lots of different types of customers, consumer and business. We have a large variety of consumer business customers with various different needs. But what I would tell you is it's always day one here. And I know you've probably heard this, you've probably read it on the websites. I've lived it for 20 years, and I've seen it. Every time we find a problem and a challenge, we go out and we solve it. Whether it's building an airline in 6 months, or it's building a studio or AWS, it's always day one with Amazon. And right now, the reason I'm driving the Amazon Business Operations Group is I believe we're at the precipice of having an amazing world-class experience coming out of the Amazon Business Group. There are so many things that we can improve on the services that you need. We need your feedback. We need your help with some of the data quality that we talked about. But we can build an amazing service that you could get things before you even leave the office. And that's the vision that I want us to be building to in the Amazon business space. And that's where I believe we can go. I want to thank all of you very much for the opportunity to speak with you. But most importantly, I want to thank you for being customers and the feedback that you provide to us to make us better. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.